Welcome to Commander's Open Line on the Source 1575. I have my three guests here, Wing Leadership, starting with Colonel Mike Rothstein, 35th Fighter Wing Commander.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm just jumping in. I don't care.
You're the boss. Do what you want. 35th Mission Support Group Commander, Colonel Mike Griffin.
Great to be here. Good morning to you also.
Good morning. And 35th Fighter Wing Command Chief, Chief Master Sergeant Jim Laurent.
The Spraticus, good morning.
Good morning. Did you guys like the snowstorm this morning?
Yeah, it's kind of clearing up right now. That's
It
why
is.
you're asking about song requests, and I said walking in the sun because the sun was starting to peek through. That's what made me think of it as we were coming in here. I don't know whether it's going to stay or not though.
It was heavy
Excellent.
snow. The shoveling was a little harder this morning.
Yeah, we get that
Wet snow.
Yeah, when there's an easterly flow sort of in the atmosphere, and it's and the snow is essentially coming off the Pacific Ocean rather than coming across the mountains and that sort of thing. That's when we get that wet, heavy snow typically. So this time of year, we'll sometimes tend to get a little more of that easterly flow, which is what we got going on this time, and that's why it's
Leads to
wet and
dangerous
sunny.
winter driving, right?
It does. Well, nice segue there.
Nice segue.
So here's a quick story, because I'm just going to jump right in with a story. Last Sunday, I take two of my boys to the Misawa swimming pool off base, because it was on a Sunday, and I think our pool is closed. I don't know if anyone's ever been to the Misawa indoor swimming pool. But on the way back, it's just starting to rain a little bit. Rain, snow, I should say. The roads, if you remember last weekend, were pretty clear. But, black ice. I come out of a light. I'm not, spinning out or anything like that, but I just kind of accelerate out of a light, go into a total fishtail across both lanes. Luckily, there was nobody in the other lane. Out of nowhere. So my only guess is that probably one of my wheels got traction, the other one didn't. So that's kind of what caused the differential there. But be careful. And it was very unsuspecting. I looking at the roads, I was paying attention to it. The roads were pretty clear. Never saw it coming. So luckily my reflexes took over and I didn't run off the road or anything like that. But that
Luckily,
was,
sir, you're a superior driver. That
yeah,
helped.
I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to say anything about like F-16 pilot or anything like that. I wasn't going to go there.
It's because of the slippery weasel, right, sir?
Yeah, well, it is. Slippery Weasel is a great, if you haven't done that yet, it's a great sort of hands-on driving tool to help us understand better how to handle your vehicle in icy conditions. And you get a chance to do some hands-on stuff as well as academic. So you can sign up with that, I think, through our safety office.
I think the next class is on the 2nd of March is when they're doing the next
Yep.
class.
226-2702, if I recall the phone number correctly.
right.
And I think that's the last class.
That is the last class, right?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So,
For the season.
and that gets really good reviews. So for those of you who've kind of thought about it, haven't gotten around to it, and don't feel like, it's the end of the year, so it's too late to do it. So you can hop in there. But are we getting any calls or anything yet? Not, man.
No calls,
yet.
man.
Growing up in
Well-
Minnesota, I put my fair share of vehicles in the ditches there, and slippery weasel was something I did on my own, I guess, and I paid a lot of money having to get my car towed
Right,
out of
here
the
you can
ditch.
get it free.
Grew up in South Carolina. I just went through the red dirt road, so not much snow.
Not a whole lot.
But
of
mud.
A lot of mud. Yes,
Still treacherous driving, right?
it is.
We have a follow-up question from the last Commander's Open Line.
Okay.
It says that they saw an AFN commercial saying many bases are adding Space A to Facebook pages. When you Google Patriot Express, you can find flight information on USFK official website. Kadena has a 24-hour flight recording DSN line for AMC Flights. Why can't the terminal give out flight information when it seems like many other bases are?
Sir, I saw that question last night. I did not get a chance to research it. I just saw it last night. It's a fair question. I think I need to go to the website and check it out. The AMC doesn't actually work for us here at Misawa. They're kind of contracted and at a detachment. But I can get that answer and do a follow-up.
Yeah, I think it's good. Some of the things we got to think about a little bit that I know they are is, how much of our flight schedules do we want published on sort of the open internet from a, force protection kind of situation. And just because other bases are doing it doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right thing to be doing. But doesn't necessarily mean it's the wrong thing to be doing. So I think it's worth doing in a perfect world. I'd love to get more information out there about that, make that better for our community. We'll just have to find the balance. And like Colonel Griffin said, it may not necessarily be our call because it's, they're here on the base, but they're not under the 35th Fighter Wing. And so, do we talk about how folks can email in and stuff like that? I know we normally hit that, but we probably ought to remind folks in case they're listening. 'Cause I
Sure,
know
if
they
you
probably
want to
type.
if you want to get a question in, You can obviously call 226-1575. That's the source line right here. Talk to Colonel Rothstein, Colonel Griffin, or Chief Laurent directly. You can go to Facebook, drop your question on there, and the PA staff, Public Affairs. You can go to 35thfighterwing.pa at misawa.af.mil and email your questions in, and they're here to take your questions. What's going on with you, they need to know.
All right.
And sir, if I may, I did catch they posted one last night on the AFN website about the ice builds up, especially like at Reese Road and Falcon as you go down to Security Hill. And we have noticed that. I will tell you, as snow slows down a little bit, I've noticed the civil engineers out on weekends really getting those snow banks down some so you can see at stop sign, especially on the key roads, like when you go down to Security Hill, like when you're near the exchange and some of the other areas. And I've seen a concentrated effort to get those cleared up, and we continue to do that. I would ask also homeowners to do that. I mean, if you're near it, well, I say residents, if you're near your house and you see big piles near your own house, please try to help clean those out or call them in, especially if they're dangerous stop sign areas, and we'll make sure we get those worked on too.
We got a Facebook question just in.
All right.
From Christy. Christy wants to know, are there any future plans to have tennis on base here in Misawa? The fitness center doesn't offer any program, and the courts at the high school are always locked. As large as this base is, surely there are other tennis players here.
Great question, Christy. And I know, we dealt with this about a year and a half ago, and I thought we kind of had it at least semi-solved. I'll have to re-look at it. The short answer is we have no plans to build new tennis courts at this time. However, and I got to be careful here because I have not talked to Dodds and the high school directly, but I would like to hope we can maybe work some sort of sharing agreement out where, and I thought we had something before.
We have an agreement that we work in. The FSS folks are very good at this, working so that you can check the keys out. It's easier to do it in summer than it is to do during school season, but they did work it out that they can also do it in school season. It's a little narrow time, but
so if someone's looking to play tennis, they need to go to the fitness center. I thought.
I want
right?
to confirm that answer, but that's the way we originally answered that question, probably about 3 or 4 months ago, because that question came up before.
Right.
I want to get a confirmation on that for you.
So I think there is a way to do it, and it's maybe a little bit of a pain to go check out a key. Certainly the high school has an equity in making sure that their resource stays protected and it's not just turned into a skateboard park there. But I think the ability to check out a key when of course when they're not using it because they need to have primacy, if you will, if they're doing tennis, either classes or sports or whatever at the high school. But I think we can work that out, and from what I've seen, that should be doable.
Sir, on a similar subject to that, I think we just rehired our youth sports director. So some of those sports events that we may have missed in the past, now that we've hired that position on, we're able to get somebody into that position. I think we're able to get some of those, look at those anyway, and at least from the youth sports side of it, and,
yep.
and maybe get some coaches.
That has been a big hole in our lineup, and I know the FSS has been pulling overtime and having folks kind of fill in to try to make that happen. So we're looking forward to getting that person here. I actually don't know the exact time frame of when if they've started or
I think
when
she's here already.
Okay.
I think she's already taken on the job. Yeah.
All right, and that's great. And then also for everyone else is, you can have one youth sports director, but you still need a whole bunch of coaches.
Absolutely.
And so there's lots of folks out there who say, I want my kids to be able to play sports. Well, those are the same people I need to step up and say I'm willing to help be part of the solution, part of the community. Whether you've got kids or whether, I know in a former life when I was a little younger, before I had kids and married, I used to kind of help coach as a young captain back here 20 years ago. So there's other folks who can do it, but we always need those volunteers to make the machine turn.
Thank you for the question, Christy. And if you want to get a question in, again, you can call 226-1575. That is the source line. You can also go to Facebook, or you can send an email to 35thfw.pa at misawa.af.mil. And I was handed another question. This pertains to the women's bathroom in the furniture store.
Haven't been there.
Chief, have you been there?
I haven't been there.
Well, I'm going to clue you guys in.
That's a good thing, Chief.
I'm going to clue you guys in on what's happening. Okay?
Maybe Terry, but not you,
me.
Chief.
In the women's bathroom at the furniture store, there's a hot radiator inside the stall. It's located right next to the baby changing station. There are no signs indicating that there is a dangerously hot radiator, nor is there anything covering it, protecting little hands from being burnt and blistered. Is there anything that can be done about this?
You know, I will tell you that is a great question, and I happened to be on AFN face page last night, and when I saw that question, I immediately sent it to the exchange manager. They put a sign on the radiator last night, and they also put a work order into civil engineer to get it fixed. So I appreciate telling us that. I just don't normally go into the ladies' restroom, so I wouldn't have noticed that. So I am glad you called because that's important to the safety of our children and also to our community, and hopefully it will get fixed here very soon. But the sign is there right now.
I'm getting the indication that we have a caller.
Outstanding.
All right.
Karen, are you there?
No. This is Sharon Schmitz. I just wanted to say that Karen Inafuku is our new youth sports director.
Way to go, Shirt.
All right, sure.
And she can be reached at 226-3220.
All right. Well, thanks for schooling me on that, Shirt. I appreciate it.
Now that you're on the line, though, you have to ask us a question.
You got to ask a question.
Well, she's relatively new to the team, so.
All right. So, yeah, the chief threw you under the bus there. He says since you called in, you have to ask a question.
Oh, no.
Ask about parking. That's always a good question.
No. I'd like to know when spring's going to come. That's what I'd like to know. You all have a nice day.
All right.
Take care,
Thanks.
sir.
Thanks for the info. Good call.
All right, now coming up, I know that they're going through an IA inspection. You know, we've done a couple spots here for comms. We're getting get the commercials on. I know it's a big inspection for them. So can you elaborate on the importance of the inspection?
Yeah, let me talk about that a little bit, and I'll kind of help correct you. You can say they because obviously you're Navy, but it's really we, because this is not a comm squadron inspection. This is a Misawa installation, mostly I believe Air Force focused more so than the Navy focused, but it's a Misawa installation inspection, and every unit out there has a really important part in our information assurance. That's what IA is, information assurance. And folks, the next battleground, the current battleground, is our virtual networks. And there are lots of folks in the world who are looking to exploit, our information, get in through our networks, hack our computers, learn information, all sorts of stuff going on every single day. And so we're kind of, it's almost like, they talk about these shadow wars that, went on with the CIA in Afghanistan in, the 1970s. There is a shadow war going on with our networks today. And so every single person on this base who is part of our Air Force networks, whether you're, wearing a uniform, whether you're not, has got to help us take care of that. And there's, vulnerabilities at every turn. So as your units are preparing for it, please make that a priority. Please understand that this is serious business, and it is it's a mindset. It's not just your stuff at risk, but it's that quintessential getting in through that side door that somebody leaves open, speaking metaphorically, and gets into a whole bunch of stuff, and has the ability to, who knows, plant bugs that they may not turn on until some date in the future or something like that. There's whole things going on. Make sure, and it's not just computers, of course, but it's also shredding information. It's not leaving it around. It's knowing that every computer should have kind of that network incident card sitting next to it, and if something doesn't look quite right, that look at that thing and call up and get the comm squadron involved, and just being aware of phishing and scams and all that stuff. So it's kind of that multitude to protect our own self, protect our personal identity and all those things, as well as the health of our networks.
You mentioned the shredding paper and stuff like that. These guys are going to come in here and they're going to do some dumpster diving and things like that, trying to find information about what our operations are and what we have going on the base. So it's really important to make sure that you take care of all that stuff, and just refresh your memory on what you did and when you did the training courses, online training courses, about who your information assurance person is in your unit, what to do if you get a virus on your computer, and just simple things like that, being able to explain those and know what you're doing.
Yep.
There are also simple things that people don't think about when they do it, like you put your CAT card in the computer, you get up to go to the bathroom, but you don't take it with you.
Yeah.
Now you just opened up yourself to being attacked.
Absolutely. And kind of while we're waiting for a couple questions to come in, let me I'm going to depart from the script a little bit and just talk kind of a couple things going on around the base, sort of from my perspective. I talk a lot about mission, leadership, and community. So sort of I'll frame it there on some of the big things. On the mission side, for those of you who don't know right now, we've got the 13th Fighter Squadron and the AMU deployed down to Guam, Anderson Air Base in Guam, doing Cope North exercise. And that's a pretty big deal for a couple reasons. First of all, we're getting some good training sorties down there that's important to us, keeping our combat capability. But also, Cope North this time is the first time that it's a trilateral exercise. And by trilateral, I mean it is the U.S., Japan, and Australia. And so that's pretty new. It's always been sort of a U.S.-Japan thing. So Australia playing in this exercise is pretty significant. And if you think about, if you've been listening to the news at all the last couple months and sort of listened to President Obama talk about